I'm currently 28 years old and I've been single for 4 years, and lately I've been feeling my singleness a lot more than I ever really have, and it's kind of been bothering me. About 4 years ago, I left my ex-fiancé, and ever since that journey, I took a long time to just heal and become my own person and figure out who I am and what I want for myself and out of my future.
Well, how did that turn out for you? But gentlemen, welcome back to the desert, welcome back to the channel. In today's episode, guys, we'll cover women over 30 who make terrible dating decisions and end up alone, and they are to blame. So nothing new under the sun. And then we'll have our article story. But gentlemen, please like and subscribe if you want to keep this channel afloat, fighting against the YouTube algorithm. But now, gentlemen, let's go back to covering this woman. And let's actually, editor, rewind back 10 seconds because we need to hear that again.
About 4 years ago, I left my ex-fiancé, and ever since that journey, I took a long time to just heal and become my own person and figure out who I am and what I want for myself and out of my future.
Yeah, so translation, I increased my body count by at least 20. That's it. Nobody's buying this anymore. This whole thing about self, fulfillment and healing and, I need to grow. I need to find myself. We all know what that means. You find yourself through Chad's banana penetrating your guts. That's all it is.
And then the last year has really been me going out, trying to meet people, and it just hasn't been working out.
What did I tell you?
As a woman in her late 20s, I guess my biological clock is ticking, but I don't really care about that. I'm more of just I want a partner and I want somebody to really live life with, whereas if I have kids, cool. If I don't, whatever. But I want a partner. I want somebody that is so supportive and just so on my side. And a lot of the times I find that are in my platonic friendships, and sometimes I just genuinely wonder if love is meant for me. I think it's really hard for me personally not to keep taking this as a what's wrong with me, why don't people like me type of situation, because I am thriving in pretty much everywhere else in my life except for relationships. I'm thriving in my career and I'm doing really well, but I just feel I don't have anybody to share it with other than my friends, which I'm so lucky that I have my friends. But it's hard when you see other people getting into relationships and dating and really building foundations that just I don't feel capable of building. And it's not.
Yeah, guys, can somebody explain this to me? How is it that there is a certain group of women that manage to have healthy relationships and manage to have kids and happy families, and there is another group of women that cannot do it for the life of them? All right, they wouldn't be able to do it even if you granted them 1,000 men to choose from. Which isn't far from reality with modern day dating, right? So can somebody explain this to me? What's the difference between the two groups of women, gentlemen? Could it be their own actions? Could it be that this woman already had the man that could have turned out to be her husband, but she left him, trying to find something better, trying to replace him, and now she's left with nothing?
It's not because I don't want to build them. Trust me, I do. It's just nobody seems to want to build them with me. And I do a good job of not letting it really define my worth and making me feel a certain way. But lately it's just been taking a toll on me, and I don't know why. And I think that that's part of the reason that so many people don't talk about it, because it's embarrassing. It feels embarrassing. It's not embarrassing. It's just hard not to compare myself to all these other girls that are constantly getting into relationships, or all my friends that constantly have guys in their lives. I just feel I don't have guys in my life, and if I do, it's not going anywhere.
No, translation. She has guys in her life, probably over 100, but they are invisible to her because they are not Chad. And the Chad, it's not going anywhere. He pumped and dumped me this one time, not going anywhere. Gentlemen, let's not kid ourselves. This woman is an attractive woman. The type of... Yeah. You know how many men, as I'm trying to speak, gentlemen, I'm just speechless by how good you look today. But regardless of that, let's not kid ourselves that these women have many options, right? Even the fat ones, even the massively overweight ones, even they have options, probably more than the average guy. And this is a quite attractive woman, all right? So don't use those sad puppy eyes. Oh, I don't have options. Please, We're not kids anymore. We have dated. Okay, we see what the dating scene is like. You have hundreds of options, and yet you are still single. Then what a loser.
Would love to preface the fact that there's nothing wrong with being single, and I'm well aware of the fact that I'd rather be single than settle for somebody. It does just feel a little bit lonely, and it does just feel a little bit hard when it seems like everybody else in the world is like happy and in these relationships, and it's been 4 years and a failed engagement for me. Like, at what point do I just stop? But then I think about how I really haven't put that much effort in anyways, and I may as well just keep putting myself out there, and, you know, my husband will find me if I stop looking so desperately. At least one can hope. I don't know, I'm not trying to make this like a little poor me thing, but I feel like other girls can relate to how I'm feeling right now, because I know I have so much to offer, and I know I am literally a prize. And I'm really proud of myself for that, because I love who I am. So
yeah. Just don't mention it. We know that you are like the bestest thing ever. What a coincidence, gentlemen. Every woman that we talk about on the channel that is above 30 and single, all of them, guys, are like these massive gems. You know, just this beautiful human individual all throughout, God's gift to the earth, the bestest thing you'll ever see in your life. All of them. Not one of them has said, you know, I actually have issues, or I actually didn't have to leave my fiance because I thought the grass was greener somewhere else, or, you know, I have my issues, I have a lot to offer, but I have my issues. No, it's all of them, guys. They are perfect. They are angels. Wow, what a coincidence, eh, guys?
So fully, but part of me is like, what is missing that other people don't see that? Because
other people don't see it. Again, isn't it convenient, guys? It couldn't be that she is the problem. It's just everybody else, apparently all men on this world, cannot see that she is like the best thing that has ever happened to them. It's literally blaming all men in her life rather than putting some accountability on her. My hell.
see that. Because I see it. Are y'all blind?
I mean, apparently, guys, we're all blind. This woman out here, guys. Go cash in, guys. Go grab her. Come on. Go buy that ring and find this woman. She's out there. It's the best woman you'll ever see. And you are lucky enough that other men apparently are blind and they're not seeing her. Now, in reality, guys, sarcasm aside, if you were 1/10 of how good you proclaim yourself to be, you wouldn't be single right now. All right, 1/10. Good women, they are picked by men, or they also pick good men, and these men know that these women are good and will never leave them, right? But gentlemen, let's move on our next video, as we have this woman here, very surprised, you can see. So let's see what she has to say.
You can call me a gold digger all you want, but I used to only date 50-50 men, and my longest relationship ever was with a 50-50 man. And times were tough, but we were a team, and he stops being able to afford groceries. So before we used to go 50-50 on groceries, now he can't pay his half, or he can't pay all his half. And I'm like, don't worry, babe, I got you. I'll pay for it this month, and the next month, and the next month. And it keeps getting lower and lower, the amount he can pay. He's out with his friends. I've come home with the groceries. I'm cooking. I'm gonna call, and he's like, hey, I just ordered weed to the house. Can you go into my red backpack and pay the guy? And I'm like, yeah, sure. I go into the red backpack. $3,000 in cash. I said, babe, why do you have money but couldn't pay the grocery bill?
Okay, before she continues, guys, let me just say that if I get assaulted by this one on the street, all right, and she robs me, or she breaks my face or something, if this woman robs me, she can literally take her makeup off and I wouldn't be able to recognize her. It's that easy. She's wearing so much makeup, guys, that if you have to take a towel and just wipe it through her face, and you'll probably remove like 3 pounds of makeup, and you'll find a whole nother person underneath the makeup, right? It's like fake lips, fake ass eyelashes. My hell, those eyelashes, guys. Probably can use them like an umbrella when it rains. her eyebrows, I don't know if they are fake. They seem real, not like one of these that are drawn, like Picasso drawing a, painting a drawing. But they are, touched. Then you have her nose, could be fake as well. It's just, she probably has Botox or whatever you call it all around her face. It's like, guys, these women change so much, you wouldn't be able to recognize them after they commit a crime. But let's go back to the story now.
Like, help me pay the grocery bill. He says to me, no, babe, those are my savings. And I said, where do you think I was getting the money to pay for half of the groceries that weren't mine? I was taking them out of my savings. I didn't get to have savings for this team. And he goes, oh, I guess I never really thought about you in this situation. You didn't think about me. Yeah, now when men ask me to do 50-50.
Yeah, well, damn. What a nice thumbnail, actually, guys. And as I'm clipping it, no, yeah, I'm gonna say your boyfriend sucks, ex-boyfriend now, and he's not a good team player. I'm gonna be honest, guys. But again, I cannot really sympathize when it comes to women having problems, guys, because dating problems, because it will be the equivalent to me sympathizing about a millionaire who is upset because the rent of one of his 7 cars increased by a little bit. All right, it's like, I understand your problem, but I just simply don't care. All right, like if I have to compare your problem to what men go through on a daily basis, I simply don't care. For every woman, guys, that faces has a boyfriend who is, let's say, a gold digger or selfish, or he uses her for money or things like this. For every woman, there's like 10,000 men. All right, men get constantly screwed up in divorce courts, through alimony, through child support, through their kids being taken away, their resources being taken away. Men go on dates and pay $200 for a woman that didn't even like them to begin with, and is just using them like a parasite would, So it's like, it's such a common occurrence with men that I cannot really take you seriously, to be honest, guys. But now let's move on to our last TikTok before the article.
Okay, I just woke up, so mind the breath, mind the hair, but I'm going to say something pretty vulnerable. When have I not? Okay. I am going through the grief process.
By the way, guys, before she continues, I had to mention it. This whole thing of, I just woke up, is so other women can tell her, oh, you look so beautiful. No, she didn't just wake up. She spent, I can guarantee you guys, she spent 45 minutes doing her hair, and probably spent like another 20 doing some basic makeup, She's probably spent well over an hour, and she could have recorded this like 4 times to try to get the perfect lighting and all that. Don't lie to me with this up, just woke up. Yeah, sure.
Of a relationship. I am in the process of getting over someone, and I, for the longest time, have had such a hard time figuring out, how do you get over someone, okay? Little backstory, I was in a relationship with this person for 2 years on and off, and I was the reason we were doing so many on and off, because I was raised by a woman who told me that I don't need a man, you can make your own money, you can do your own things, yada, 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 very independent, strong. And so I have been raised.
Wow, guys, coincidentally, all the things I'm looking for in a woman. Don't give me this whole feminine, pleasant, attractive, humble. Ew. Guys, giving me the ick, honestly. No, rather give me, independent, bossy. I'm really into bossy women. If I have a second manager at home, that's just my dream. Just entitled, ungrateful, all the good things, guys, all the good things. And of course, she comes from a family with no father around and raised by a single mother. Well, there are your results.
With high standards and to know what I deserve. And so a lot of the reasons I kept breaking up with this person was because I felt I was not getting the respect or prioritization that I felt I deserved. So anytime I felt the lack of respect or the lack of prioritization, I'd be like, bye. And then a week later, I would be like, I miss you, take me back. And then we get back together, and then we'd do it again in like 2 months. Okay, it was toxic, it was bad. I know my...
No, wait a minute. But weren't you so independent and, just all those things you mentioned So why did you go back to a toxic relationship for a full year on and off? Well, because in reality, guys, all these women that constantly talk about being independent and empowered, they are the most broken people. Like, they really are. And they are the ones that lack the most self-respect, to be honest with you. The biggest indicator of not having self-respect is going back to a toxic relationship. This is how you can measure it. You can measure yourself by the type of partner that you have. Is your partner toxic and bad and awful? Well, that probably means that you are in a very bad mental state currently. You know, and if you make the choice to go back over and over, it just shows that you have no self-respect and you are weak and pathetic and you need to work a lot on yourself. So there, the whole narrative crumbles, guys. The whole empowered, I know my worth, I know what I deserve. Notice how it's always the women who constantly talk about I know my worth that are the ones that settle for like the worst experiences. They settle for guys who cannot remember their names, who use them for their body like a piece of meat, you know, like an S3X doll. These are the type of guys they settle for. The I know my worth crowd.
My fault, I'm working through it in therapy. But one of the biggest reasons why I felt so compelled to text that person to get back together was because I am a religious social media stalker, okay? I could not stop looking at his socials. I could not stop being updated on his life. I could not stop looking until last week. Okay, it's officially been 3 weeks since we ended things officially, like for real this time. But it has been a week since I've checked his social medias, and it's because I had a therapy session last week where I told my therapist, I said, I can't stop looking. I don't know what to do. And she said, it's self-torture. You have to stop. You're never going to be able to get over him if you're constantly being updated on his life. And so I did. I stopped looking. This has been a great week for me, not checking his socials.
Well, guys, I'm going to pause the video right here because there's a minute and a half more. And she just goes on to talk about this, which, in all honesty, is good advice. If you want to forget about someone, delete him from everywhere. Stop talking to him or her. Honestly, good advice, not gonna lie. But we don't care about that. I just wanted to show you the product of a single mother. A woman who will never be able to find a man who, first off, is worth it. She'll just date the bad boys. Second off, she won't be able to keep none of them. Not the good ones, not the bad ones, none of them. She won't be able to keep none of them. She'll just continue to repeat to herself how she is the prize and the bestest and how I deserve. I, me, myself, and I, we all deserve the best thing ever, but we're never gonna find it. So now, gentlemen, let's move on to our article story. Complicated friends with benefits turned emotional roller coaster, now holding her sentimental items. So I have just read this first paragraph because I like to be in the dark, you know, guys. I want to be absolutely natural when I read these. I, 29 male, met this girl, 25 female, around 3.5 months ago. And from the very beginning, there was a spark. We hooked up on our first night together, which felt surprisingly intimate. Intimate is the last word in the whole dictionary that I will use to describe a one-night stand hook up on the first night together. All right? It's the furthest thing away from intimate. It's transactional, and you're using each other like objects. But gentlemen, this is the type... you can never know, right? You meet a woman nowadays, and you never know if she has done this bullcrap behavior. And these are the women, guys, that will want to be wifed up. For you to put a ring on that finger, for you to value her like she is the most special, pure, and innocent human being on earth. While in the meanwhile, they have settled, they have agreed upon to be treated like a hooker, just like a hooker. You go out, you find a dirty street worker, and you pay her, I don't know, $20 to, you know, suck whatever she needs to suck, alright? That's how she values herself. That's how she markets herself and what she settles for. So she never deserves to be treated as anything more. But I continue now. Especially when she shared that she'd lost her mom as a child. No, I could have guessed that. You know, these people, guys, that don't value their body, they most of the times come from bad families and places like these. And I feel sympathy for her losing her child. I don't feel sympathy for her actions, alright? Because there are people who say, oh, well, Hidan, you see, she lost her mom. She had no other option than to lower herself, to be the equivalent of a street worker. What? What kind of rationalizing is that? Oh, yeah, this guy, well, he's a substance addict, but, you know, he didn't have a father. Why should I care? You know the amount of people who didn't have fathers or mothers and turn out great because they fought? They actually held themselves to a certain moral standard. You're devaluing all of their efforts when you rationalize it that way. Oh, she had no other thing to do. No, she had options and she chose the bad one. Even though she insisted she wanted nothing serious, she claimed she hadn't been in a relationship for 6 years and mostly did casual hookups. Well, there you have it again. It's like the equivalent of a streetwalker, literally. She never actually turned me down whenever I suggested we meet up. Over time, our dynamic became really confusing. We'd hang out once or twice a week, sometimes for 7-8 hours straight, usually at a bar or her place, and she seemed genuinely excited to see me in person, even though she never initiated contact herself. Massive red flag. Well, probably the smallest one from what we've read, but also a massive red flag. She'd be affectionate, even clingy at times, but then call me boring out of nowhere. Well, that's a good thing. She was also flaky and chronically late, and when I confronted her about lying over small details, she'd just deflect or get defensive, but at least she stopped being late. On the flip side, she'd do things that felt closer and more vulnerable, like inviting herself along to my plans with friends or lending me books that had belonged to her late mom. Once, after hours of cuddling, she said, if we have S3X, we can never see each other again, only for us to end up sleeping together anyway. Moments like that made me think she was on the edge of wanting something more, but then she'd pull away and remind me we weren't a couple. I even suggested we try proper dating, but she avoided giving a direct answer, just kept coming back around with this push-pull routine. So, what do you think about this, guys? Some of you will think that she's trying not to hurt his feelings. My opinion is a bit more cynical. I think that she just cares so little about him that she's just bothered by the idea of having to provide something more, or, you know, he's annoying her with his feelings. But it could be both. What do you think? Eventually, she got sick and disappeared for a bit. Then suddenly announced she'd started dating someone else. She claimed it wouldn't be fair to her new relationship if we kept hanging out, which seems hypocritical as she'd bring up stories of hooking up with a married guy, calling him considerate for staying with his wife because of their kids, which felt like a red flag. Things escalated that night when she said she'd only spent time with me because she had no one else. What did I tell you? I haven't read this. Tried to gaslight me about stuff we'd actually done together and accused me of not having experienced anything in life. I misunderstood her, replied sarcastically, and she ended up crying about her mom. And in the end, oh, what a victim, guys. She's always the victim. Notice how she's using her mom for an excuse for everything. Well, I behave like a street worker because of my mom. I make terrible dating choices because of my mom. I'm never to blame because of my mom. You know? How convenient. Victim mentality. And in the end, she blocked me on social media right in front of me, but strangely left my phone number unblocked. She stormed off, saying she'd lost all respect for me. Oh, wow. Now I'm left holding these books she lent me, which belonged to her late mom and apparently meant a great deal to her. I feel terrible keeping them, yet I'm reluctant to reach out if that will just cause more drama, especially since she blocked me everywhere else. Part of me still cares about her, though I can't fully explain why. Because you're a moron who decided to catch feelings for another moron. And I'm torn between mailing the books back with no strings attached, texting her to see if she wants them returned in person, or doing nothing and waiting to see if she ever contacts me. Any advice on the best way to handle her sentimental belongings, or whether I should even try to stay in her life at all, will be really appreciated. Well, guys, I don't think you need to be modern day Aristotle to come to the conclusion that hell no, don't stay in her life. And you should have never been there to begin with. These women, guys, are beyond the point of no return. They had many opportunities to choose a better life, but this victim mentality led them to the life that they currently have. And their end, guys, is going to be absolutely devastating. They, excuse me, they go through life having this hedonistic approach, trying to take as much as possible, as much instant gratification and attention and hookups. And look, she used this guy just like a parasite. He was her host. She used him because she had no one else. And the moment she found someone else, she replaced him, upgraded him, if you will. These people are selfish and their end is always pain and misery. But gentlemen, thank you for watching. If you like what I speak here, please like and subscribe. And if you want more, you can find me on Patreon. Links down below. Thank you again for watching, guys. I'll see you on the next one.